Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. Um, First, allow me to thank you for accepting to follow this channel, for accepting to walk this journey with me. Thank you for subscribing, and I encourage you that if what you find here is impactful in your life, if you find it useful, then please go ahead and invite a friend or family to come join us. So thank you very much for accepting to walk this journey with me. Um, Today I want to share with you a little bit of what my typical day as an aspiring entrepreneur looks like, from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep, and what my weekends look like. So that's what I would like to share with you, with the hope that you'll find bits and pieces that could be helpful to you as well. So I wake up at 3:30 a.m. Monday to Friday. I used to wake up at 3:45, but then recently I took away 15 minutes from my sleep so I could have more time to do what I do every day. There are three reasons why I do that. And the first is about time management. We all have 24 hours a day. And it doesn't matter how rich one is, 24 hours, that's all we all get. But then I realized that there is a way one can create more time to do the things they care about. And one of those ways is waking up earlier than usual. So if you used to wake up at 6 a.m. or 5:30, you could create more time by waking up at 4:30. That's an hour extra created. So you're literally creating time. You're creating more time from the allocated 24 hours we all have. So instead of using part of that time to sleep, you're taking it away and using it for something else. So that's the first reason, time management. That's how I've managed to create more time despite having 24 hours in total. The other reason is freedom. I have learned that that is one of the best period of time any person can have on any given day. I mean, it's a time when nobody is expecting you to be awake. And as a result, nobody is going to call you. Nobody is going to disturb you. That means you can do anything you want during that time. If you're into reading, you could read. You could think, you could plan. If you're into morning workouts, you could exercise. So the sky is literally the limit. You could do anything in that time. So that's where the freedom aspect comes in. The third reason is freshness. Our brains are made in such a way that as the day progresses, our cognitive capacities also decrease. So we are freshest in the morning. That is the best time to think, the best time to write. It is the best time to meditate because your mind is fresh. It is freshest. at that time. And remember, because the world is sleeping, you have peace and quiet. So before the world gets noisy, before the day gets busy, you have given yourself an extra hour or two, and you've devoted it to something that matters to you. And you're doing this thing with the freshest state of mind we can have at any point during the day. So, freshness, your freshest at that time. So those are the 3 reasons I wake up at that time. And what I do, I typically start with prayer. I pray to God. He's my leader. I don't mince my words when it comes to that. I rely on him for leadership. I rely on him for guidance. So I devote my day to him. I don't take so many minutes, no more than 5 minutes. And then I go into what they call creative visualization. What this means, we have a subconscious mind. That is something I'll share with you in the episodes to come. We have a subconscious mind. And I'm now convinced, after learning more and more about it, that with the exception of Christ, it is the greatest gift God gave mankind. It is the greatest gift God gave mankind. And he gave it to all of us with the purpose that it helps us be anything. He designed it in a way that it has the power to give a man whatever he wants. It's amazing when you learn more about it, but we shall talk about that in the future. So we have a subconscious mind, but there is a way you have to stimulate it in order for it to release the power that it has. So creative visualization is one of the ways you can stimulate your mind to release the power it was created to have. And creative visualization is simply a process where you visualize your goals, you visualize the things you want in life vividly, you feel them as real as possible. That's why it's called creative visualization. You're creating something in a way that is visual. You visually create something. That's the best way I can put it. You visually create something in your mind. And once you believe that that thing exists, you believe that it's done, then amazing things start to happen. It has worked wonders for me, and it has played a very, very big role in bringing me where I am today. But much as it's one of the greatest gifts, the second greatest gift God gave mankind, the enemy also knows that very well. So what he does is that he turns what is supposed to be a gift into man's greatest enemy. People have destroyed themselves simply because of what is in their minds. Simply put, we have a mind that has the capacity to make us, to give us anything, to turn whatever we desire into reality. But unfortunately, it can work either for good or for bad. So people don't know how powerful the mind is, but someone else does, the enemy. So what he does, he uses the very mind that's supposed to help them to destroy them. But we shall get to that in the future. So that's one of the things I do in the morning. I stimulate my mind to release the power that I now know it possesses. I didn't know, but now I do. Through creative visualization, I do that. I dwell on my goals, I visualize them, I feel them real. It takes me about 5 or 10 minutes every single morning and before I go to bed. And then I let things work themselves out from there on. So that's one of the things I do in the morning. The second thing I do in the morning when I'm fresh, after I wake up, is I think through my priorities for the day. I have goals, 2 goals that I'll share with you in the coming videos. I learned the hard way last year not to go after so many goals at the same time, regardless of how you feel about them. Even if they mean the world to you, I learned that it's not wise to go after so many things at the same time. In any given situation, at any particular time, there are only a handful of things, and by handful I mean no more than 5 things that truly matter. So those are the things you have to focus on. You focus on the handful of things that truly matter. If everything is important to you, then nothing really is. If everything matters, then nothing really does. So if you are a hunter and you find yourself in the jungle somewhere hunting, if every animal that crosses you matters, chances are you're going to go home empty-handed. So I learned that the hard way last year. But it doesn't mean that I gave up on those goals, no. They still matter a lot to me, and I know I'll go back for them in due time. But I had to be honest with myself, and then I had to settle down and focus on the 2 goals that matter most at this particular time, at this phase in my life. Only 2 goals. One of them is Skyworld related. I'll share with you later. The other is book related. There is a book I'm working on. I've been working on it since July last year. It's called Memoirs, The True Account. Memoirs, The True Account, Diaries of an Aspiring Entrepreneur. I think you can see similarities. It's a truthful account of my life from as far back as I can recall where I am today. But most important, it gives a day-to-day account of my life as an aspiring entrepreneur. Every single day from the time I started writing that book to where I am right now is accounted for. Every single one of them is accounted for. What I did, what happened, who I met, what I learned, even the most personal, private things you can imagine are in that book. Of course, it's not yet released. It will be released in due time. But everything that has happened in my life as an aspiring entrepreneur, my thoughts, my dreams, everything is in that book. Nothing has been left out. Everything is in that book. It is a big book, clearly, because every day I have to write in it. I have to write in it. It's an electronic book. I have to type everything that has happened, everything that is important. Of course, I can't write everything, every single bit, every single thing, but everything that has happened that I would like the world to know about is in there. So it's like writing in a diary every single day. It's not easy. I'm going to admit it's not easy, but I've done it for the last this is April. This is April. Almost 9 months or 10 months now. I've been doing that every single day. It's tedious, but it's been very, very, very rewarding. So that book is one of the goals of this year. At the time of writing, it's over 1,000 pages. So I can't imagine how big it's going to be by the time it's ready. But I just keep on doing what I can every single day, what I have to do every single day. So 2 goals, I think about them. Then I have monthly goals, I have weekly goals, and then I have the daily goals. The daily goals are designed in such a way that they help me achieve the weekly goals. And the weekly goals, if achieved, help me achieve the monthly goals. And the monthly goals are meant to help me achieve the goal of this year. So it's like having a big pie and deciding to eat it in pieces, bit by bit, because you can't eat it all at once. So I have to sit down and clearly think through my priorities. So the goal of the year determines the goal of the month, and the goal of the month determines the goal of the week, and the goal of the week determines what I have to do on that specific day. So that's how I've been doing it. So after deciphering what I have to do for the day, I write it down. I'll share with you the process I use. I write it down because I need to assess my performance at the end of the day. When I write it down and do it, or fail to do it, I have to assess and give a reason why I didn't do it. So I assess my day every day by looking at what I set out to do at the beginning. So when I'm done setting those priorities, I then read. I love reading. And if I could point to 2 things I can attribute where I am right now and what has helped me transform into the person I am today, I can only think of 2 things: God and personal development. The seed of personal development was sown by my father back in 2014 during one of my toughest times, like I mentioned yesterday. I was depressed. I was in my room, not this room. There was another room I used to sleep in. And one day he came knocking on my door, and I let him in. He found me sleeping on my bed. And I remember vividly what he told me. He told me that I know it's very possible for you to get depressed right now and probably engage in unconstructive things, but don't. Those were his words. I know it's possible for you to get depressed and engage in unconstructive things, but don't. I don't think he remembers. but I do. And after he said those words, he handed me a flash disk and he said, there is this video I want you to watch by a guy called Jim Rohn. He said some things that inspired me and I thought they would inspire you. So I took the flash disk out of respect. I really didn't want to watch anything because I was sad. But I did out of respect. And that incident actually left a lasting impression on me. I can never forget, because for a guy my age at that time, still living with my father, a failure by societal standards, with nothing to his name, he could have done what most fathers do. He could have kicked me to the curb. He would have kicked me while I was down. But instead of doing that, he chose to encourage me, and he gave me one of the greatest gifts a father can give a son: that video. So when I watched it, two things caught my attention and they've stuck with me to this very day. The first was a statement he made. He said that if you change, things will change for you. When I heard that statement, I shook my head and sounded to listen to more. What do you mean by if I change, things will change for me? And then when he started explaining, I began to understand what he meant. That things are always in motion, but if you don't change, things are not going to change. They're just going to remain the same. So if you change from a certain habit today, things are going to change for you because there is something you did. That's the simplest way I can put it. If you change, things change for you. If you don't change, things don't change for you. That's simple. That was the first thing. The second was personal development. He talked so much about personal development and the impact it had on his life. And that's when I knew I needed to engage, to make personal development not just a habit, but a way of life. And it has so many benefits. One of them is through personal development. I'm going to talk in the context of reading, because that's a form of personal development. I prefer reading. There are people who prefer watching videos. Others prefer listening to podcasts or something else. So there are so many ways you can develop yourself. And by personal development, he didn't mean going back to school. No, because you can get education from anywhere. Education is not limited or restricted to a school setting. And that is one of the things society has got wrong. When we talk about education, we think a school, but family is the primary medium of education. We have the media itself. We have places of worship. Education is literally around us. It is not limited in schools. So every man, I can confidently say that every man in this world is educated. But what are they educated in? Because educators are all around us, but what are they educating people in? So it changed my mindset a lot. Personal development, you intentionally absorb things that transform you and subsequently transform your setting. they transform your life. Personal development, it is something you do on your own. Nobody has to force you to do it. It is something you do on your own. So I started personal development, and I learned that through personal development you can discover who you are. When you read something in a book that resonates with what you have inside, you immediately feel an emotion or an attraction to it. It only means that it's speaking to something that is in you. When you see an image that draws emotion out of you, it only means one thing: there is something it's speaking to. So that's one of the values of personal development. When you expose yourself to something and it helps you discover who you are, that is a very good thing. 2, you learn how things work. 3, idea harvest. When I read a book and I get an idea from someone, it doesn't stop there. Sometimes my mind is stimulated to release its own ideas. So by looking at somebody's idea, my mind stimulates my own ideas. So that's why I call it idea harvest. And the 4th thing I've learned personal development does, reading in my case, is that you scout, you get to identify people you can work with. Most of these authors mention people in their books or themselves, and you could easily relate with them and work with them. So I call that scouting for potential people to work with. So that's what I do every morning between 4:30 and 7 a.m. Between 3:30 and 4:30, I'm waking up, doing everything I've shared with you before earlier, and then so that takes me about an hour, and then I go into personal development. I read. At the moment, I'm drawing from up to 4 books a day. So when I have no program that requires me to go anywhere, I sit right here on my desk, read. What I find useful, I type into the other book I told you I'm working on. So that I do between 4:30 and 7 a.m. Then I take a break to do personal things, and then come back at I come back at 9:30. This is my niece. So when I come back at 9:30, I go into personal development again. If I have no program that requires me to go anywhere, I come back and read, get what I find useful, put it in the book. And that I do up to 1 p.m., at which point I go for lunch. I'll take a break between 1 and 2 p.m. and then after lunch, I come back and work on the book. I put together everything that has happened up until that point. That takes me between 2 and 4 p.m. After 4, I take a 30-minute break to prepare myself to go to the gym, because I want to stay healthy. I want to live a balanced life. I go to the gym. So I come back after 6:30, at which time I finish whatever I hadn't for the day. And then at 7 p.m., I close my day and go to bed. always in bed by 9 p.m. because I have to wake up early. So that is my day. That's what my day looks like from Monday to Friday. I only give myself a break on the weekends. I believe we all need to log out of work, so to speak, log out of work and log into recreation to bring about that balance. So I give myself the weekend. I go see my sister in Chira. I hang out with the kids. I come back home at night and maybe watch a movie or just go to sleep or just listen to music. I don't have a personal life right now. I don't think I'm ready for that. So my family, these and the things I've shared with you so far, that's what I have right now. And so that's how I spend my week from Monday to Sunday. By Sunday 8 p.m. I have logged out of recreation and now ready to go back to log back into work. Sometimes it's a challenge waking up on Monday because I'm still in the weekend hangover, but I've learned to manage it. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you found it useful. Tomorrow we shall talk about the progress that's been made so far, something I talked about in the very first video. So see you tomorrow. Thanks again for subscribing. If you find this useful or other things we shall talk about in the future, please, I encourage you to invite your friends and let's walk this journey together. Take care.